from among the Jinn and humanity. من الجنة والناس. What is this temptation's nature, and who's responsible for it? من الجنة, some are jinn, hidden, unknown, and nas, people from among the jinn and humanity. In short, it says that some temptation, some whispers that comes to your mind or roaming in your chest, in your character, in you, are familiar. This comes from your relatives, those whom you work. These whispers roaming in your mind comes from those near you. You know them, but some others are hidden. That means the source is unknown. Like jinns here means concealed and invisible spiritual entities. How does a jinn tempt someone? Like, have you ever felt a jinn tempt you? You know what nas is. These are people that their thoughts, their energies roaming in your mind when you get closer to them or fear them or know them or even love them. Those roaming, of course, their energy and their force roams around your mind. But have you ever felt how can jinn tempt you? But what is jinn? So we have to pay it is etymological meaning. The Quran uses this term for anything that is hidden and concealed. For example, and when you're hidden, kuntum ajinnatan, ajinna, from the same root as jinn, in the wombs of your mothers. Fi butuni ummahatikum, chapter 53, verse 32. It says, the Quran says, you were a jinnah in your mother's womb. Thus, the fetus in the womb is called janeen. Likewise, when night falls, everything becomes jinn. When night darkened, a jannah over him, over Ibrahim, he saw a star. Chapter 6, verse 76. The Quran calls a garden jannah because everything on the ground is covered by soil and grass. An insane person is called majnoon because her or her intellect and wisdom are concealed. A protective shield is called junah because one hides behind it for safety. An examination of the derivatives of the root j, jim, n, jim, nun reveals that all of them connotes secrecy and hiddenness. Many of these words things are concealed from us and thus referred to as jinn. In fact, the Quran often applies this word to strangers. For instance, it relates to the Arabs that although they do not believe in what the Prophet had recited, the messenger brought to them, it says that a group of jinn who had been present did believe, and upon their return had informed their community that a book had come after the Torah and that they believed in it. Chapter 46, verse 29 to 31, and chapter 10, verse 72, 1 to 3. Who were these jinns? The Quran says that they passed on to their tribe and what they had heard. However, the Torah and the Quran are not books for non-humans. The Quran often asks, why has God not sent us an angel instead of a human to guide us? The polytheists often asks prophets why God has not sent angel. If you're true, why angels not roaming with you? The Quran answers that if angels lived on this planet, a prophet of their own kind would have been sent to them. For this book contains information related to matters of worship, for example, salah and wudu, ablution, that are meant only for humans. Jinn is an adjective and not a noun, which indicates that it does not exist in and of itself. This is just like beauty and ugliness, which also do not exist, whereas beautiful and ugly do exist. Many things can be beautiful: flower, scene, a house, or a person. Many things can be hidden and thus unknown to us, such as the existence of microbes before they were discovered. Agents are human and heavenly bodies are Jinn for us, and so are many creatures that may exist on other planets. In response to people's query about them, the Prophet replied that they were of three types. The Jinn are three types, like the one that cannot be seen. Remember that at that time such forces as energy and gravity were unknown. Second, like the seeds that grow underground and cannot be seen. Moses drops his staff, and according to Quran, it transforms as if it were a snake. Chapter 27, verse 10. As if the staff had hidden and enshrouded the snake. And third type, humans who we do not know. With regards to the jinns mentioned above, the three types, the intention is to present them as beings like ourselves, because they also have holy books and follow a certain way of life. But since they are unknown to us, they are strangers, jinns. At that time, people knew about their own and perhaps nearby villages, but most of them certainly did not know about far away lands and their peoples. In any event, we seek refuge in God from all types of evil, temptation, and whispering, both those known and unknown, hidden to us. In the past, before people knew about depression, those afflicted with it were held to be possessed by a jinn or other such attributes. If a woman died during childbirth, they would say that the devil, in the form of a scary woman, had killed her, because their minds required some kind of explanation for what just happened. Likewise, they did not know about microbes, which are concealed from us, and therefore could not understand why a person would suddenly die. But now we understand such things, whereas we understand Nas, we may not know what causes a person to become nervous, carry a grudge, or have such complex character. The Quran ends with two chapters that tells us to seek refuge from external temptation and internal whisperings. In both cases, it refers to the one who provides refuge as Rabb, as Lord. Say, I seek the protection of the Lord of people, humanity, which is this chapter, verse 1, and the next chapter, which is chapter 113, and say, I seek the protection of the Lord of the daybreak. So, therefore, what this verse said, that these temptations, these whisperings, some are known, you know where source is coming from. It is the fears that you know, like fear of the future, fear of some certain people or situations, but some others are unknown to you. Probably in future it is Jinn. Hopefully you will know them and you will get rid of this. So in all of these situations we should always seek refuge in our Lord, who knows all things and nothing is hidden to him. So we discussed Jinn, but let's have a little bit more discussion about Nas. Although we define Nas in people and Bashar in first verse and first video of this series, but let's have another go and hopefully we'll get to know it more and get benefit from it. The main name of people, which alone is repeated twice as much as the rest of its names in the Quran, like Bani Adam, Anam, Bashar, Bariya, Ants and Insan in the Quran 241 times is Nas. So the main name for the people is Nas. Nas is a general title, like it means people. In English it means people, and in Arabic it says Qawm, or in Persian you say Mardum. In the Quran there are 90 times the address Ya Ayyuhan Nas, O people. This includes Arabs, Turks, Persians, Eastern and Western people. Nas is different from human and ants. Nas is from the root Nawas, and Insan is from the root ants. In the word Nawas or Nasan means mobility and dynamism and movement. This human creature has invaded mountains, plains and seas for thousands of years and has been able to migrate to all continents, and with this curiosity and movement today it leaves the earth's atmosphere and goes beyond the earth to the heavens. But the word insan and ins is related to ons and affection, feelings and emotions, and desires for familiarity in social life and interest in gathering and chatting. This is all in the word ons or insan. This is also special to humans. Ahzab 53 and 27. In the word Nas, the social identity of a person, and in the word human or insan, the physical and mental structure and personality of individual is discussed. It'll be positive or negative is what it meant. Nas and insan have opposite words. Nas has always come against Jinn, and insan has always come against Jan. For example, خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار. The creation of human beings from dried clay, like earthen vessels. وخلق الجان من مارج من نار. And the creation of Jinn is from smokeless fire. It's said that Jan is plural of Jinn, which indicates a kind of unknown, strange and unfamiliarity, like just we discussed before. It is interesting that the Quran also calls the snake and the dragon Jan, like of Moses' staff when it transformed, which is a symbol of its hidden and unwanted and unfrightening nature. Namal 10 and Qasas 31. Insan refers to the inherent characteristic of human type, and ins refers to its individual, and the word ins appears 40 times in the Quran in front of Jinn, singular of John. Nas or people. Al-Jinnah means alienation or alien agents and beings. The deniers of prophets called them witches, sorcerers, and priests and madmen, and the polytheists of the time of the prophet also called him demon possessed by jinn and maddened. They meant that his words were not of type of people's words or everyday talk, but that demon or jinns and ghosts and unknown creatures had dissolved in his soul. Mu'minin 25 and 70, chapter 7 verse 8 also it's mentioned. But God answers them, don't they think that there is no confusion, no Jannah in their friend, and that he is nothing but a clear warner? Al-A'raf 148 and chapter 7 46. أولم يتفكروا ما بصاحبهم من جنة إن هو إلا نذير مبين. He's just a warner, and there's no confusion about what he says. The word Jannah also includes beliefs based on illusion and fantasies. With these baseless beliefs, the polytheists established a relationship between God and what they worshipped, from idols or tyrants or pharaohs, and considered them as God's shadow or God's mediator, like sultans they say is God's shadow. This is also a deviation from monotheism, or they also thought that they are God's child. وجعلوا بينه وبين الجنة نسبا وقد علمت الجن إنهم لمحضرون. In short, Nas is against Jinnah, Ins is against Jinn, and Insan is against John. So we conclude this chapter. All praise and thanks be to God. They help us reach this last verse, and hope we learn something and got closer to what God, our Lord, our Master, and our love wants us, and what He wants us from us. Hopefully we guided towards Him and gain some knowledge. So I have to say it again, what Jinn and Nas means. Jinn is not a noun, is an adjective, means hidden and unknown, whether it be unknown forces or unknown energies or unknown people is what is meant to be. And insan or ins or people, so we seek refuge from those whispers that are known and unknown. We seek refuge in our Lord, in our Master, and in our love deity, God. Peace.